Miami quarterback Tate Martell has been granted immediate eligibility, and we're going to talk about it and all that's coming up after the bump.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time, and today we're going to talk about Miami quarterback Tate Martell, who has been granted his immediate eligibility. This means that he is now in a battle with N'Kosi Perry for the starting job in Manny Diaz's offense with the Miami Hurricanes. Dan Enos calling the shots as the quarterback coach. This is going to be really fun to watch, but the news here is that both of the high-profile quarterbacks who were seeking waiver requests for immediate eligibility upon transferring have received the NCAA seal of approval. Justin Fields at Ohio State figures to be the starting quarterback under Ryan Day up there, although Matthew Baldwin out of Lake Travis probably has something to say about that. And of course, N'Kosi Perry, who has started games for Miami in the past, is going to be in this battle with Tate Martell. But you got to believe neither one of those guys would have transferred to Miami or Ohio State if they knew that they weren't going to be the starting quarterback in 2019, or at least given the shot to do so upon receiving the waiver request. And the thing that I also take from this is you don't necessarily take these guys as transfers unless you know they can help you right away. I know this because Ryan Day had to know what kind of a case they were going to put in front of the NCAA to help Justin Fields become eligible. The same could be said about Manny Diaz at Miami. The reason that this is interesting is because with Justin Fields, most of us can see how an environment that seemed racially charged, at least in the request to the NCAA by Justin Fields, wasn't going to be conducive to him playing football in Georgia. However you feel about that, you can see the facts on the ground and on the surface that sort of make that an iffy proposition for the NCAA, and edging on positivity, just grant the request. Now with Tate Martell, we're not really sure what the details here are, other than Urban Meyer stepped down, Ryan Day was elevated, and then with Justin Fields coming on, it felt like he didn't want to compete for the job, especially after saying what he said, which was, it doesn't matter who's here, I'm going to be the starting quarterback in 2019. I'm paraphrasing there, but that was our intention, or the intention that we got from him when he was talking about what he was going to do and how he's going to do it. And then Bob's your uncle, he's at Miami, where it feels like he is going to lead Transfer U in 2019. Say Transfer U because they added a lot of names and bodies as transfers to Miami, notably Bubba Bolden, who he played with at Bishop Gorman, which leads me into, remember, Tate Martell was the #2 dual threat quarterback coming out of his class and led Bishop Gorman to a lot of wins, was featured in QB1, Beyond the Lights. Everybody expected Tate Martell to fit right in with the basketball on grass spread offense that Urban Meyer liked to run. But he was not the passer that Dwayne Haskins is, and perhaps not even the passer that Matthew Baldwin is. And perhaps by going to Miami, if I can work in another perhaps here, he becomes a better passer. The same way we think of Jalen Hurts transferring to Oklahoma to become a better passer, become a better pro, the kind of person that gets drafted in the first round of the NFL draft in what might be a quarterback-heavy draft. We'll see. But, again, the news here is him being eligible, to which we have to ask the question, who was not granted a waiver request? Who was denied a waiver request? What is the criteria? Because it felt like before this year, it was really hard to get a hardship waiver past the NCAA. They were going to make you sit the year if you transferred, but I think we're seeing a kind of wink toward not just college football free agency or the transfer portal, but just the imbalance of coaches being able to make this move without consequence, in many cases getting a raise, and that gets in the money issue, and not necessarily be taking the task over it. So why should the kids? Now, I understand folks want kids to sign their national letters of intent and for those things to mean something. But I would say the same about football coaches and their contracts, because those are also supposed to be legal and binding until they're not. If somebody wants to pay the buyout, they'll come get you. Now, student athletes don't have a buyout in play, so I think the NCAA is doing what's right here and just saying, hey man, put the request in. We're going to take our time to look at it. We're going to go through it, and we're probably going to let you through. At least that is what we're getting here, because Tate Martell being immediately eligible is not the same as Justin Fields being immediately eligible. God, I'm messing up immediately and eligible. It's a lot of syllables. You understand. That's not the same thing. And I think that's what people are going to raise their eyebrows at, which is, yo, for real? You let this guy become immediately eligible because his former head coach is no longer his head coach? That happens all across the country. That happens every single December in college football. Yeah, it does. And for the longest time, the Tate Martells of the world haven't had an option to go somewhere else. And I think if the offense is in play here, and if you're saying the offense is in play in your waiver request, it's got to be really flimsy. But if the offense is in play, you absolutely have a case, because you were recruited to run a different kind of scheme. And when you see Dwayne Haskins out there throwing the ball 40 times for 500 plus yards, yeah, that ain't exactly what you do. So you're going to take your talents elsewhere, especially when they brought in a guy to compete with you in Justin Fields. And the moving and shaking, particularly at quarterback, is always going to get our attention because quarterback is a singular position. But I am fascinated to see how this continues to roll out. And if Miami ends up being any good, I understand that the news here is that he's immediately eligible. But is Miami going to compete for an ACC championship in 2019? No, because Clemson is still there. And that's kind of the point that I'm making here roundabout. But I do believe what the NCAA did was right, if for no other reason than I am for athletes getting a little bit more power in this structure. Michel Foucault taught us, power is transitive. It's on a grid. It doesn't belong to any one person at any one time. It's everywhere at all times. And in this way, we're seeing the shifting back and forth, and I'm here for it because change is necessary and change is hard. But as we're continuing to look at college football and college athletics in general and all the money that is generated from them, some of these rights and privileges need to be passed on to the players and the labor. And that is what I am here for and all about. All right, that's it for me. If you like the videos, don't forget to like and subscribe because I upload a video every single day at 6 p.m. Central Time. You can set your watch by it. Don't miss. We have Wednesday live streams at 6 p.m. where I'm sure this will be a topic of conversation. That's it for me. Deuces.